Welcome back to the Analog Dungeon. Here's part 3 of Palace of the Silver Princess. So there is a second secret door in here, which takes you into the fourth and final chamber of this little kind of secret Simon Says
thing.
Yeah. Heading west through the secret door, you find a hexagonal room, much like the other ones, decorated with mosaic tiles. The mosaic covers the entire room, the walls, the floor, and the ceiling. The scenes are of a red dragon, mounted by a man in silver and blue armor, giving chase to a young maiden wearing a silver gown and a silver and ruby coronet. Another scene depicts elves watching in the woods, while a red dragon watches them from its hiding place behind 2 tall pines. On one wall is a pool of bright blue water and a shimmering diamond floating on a lily
Nope,
pad.
we're not falling for that again. Already been here, baby.
Fool me once.
Nope.
Shame on me.
Shame on
Fame on you. Fool me twice.
You fooled again.
Shame on me. Fool me thrice. Just you don't kid a kidder. Several mermaids swimming and splashing each other near it. The design on the floor shows the maiden, man, and dragon curled up asleep around a keyhole. Once the party has entered the room, if they examine the murals, the keyhole in the floor will emit a blue-white glow, which will last until a key is placed in it. If the players use one of the jailer's keys or any key other than the gold one that was in the bathing room at the beginning of this,
that you probably didn't find.
Well, I mean, like, if you specifically were like, I'm going to poke around the towels, you will find it. Otherwise, there's a 50% chance to notice its glintiness.
Gotcha.
If you use any key other than that golden key, a 5x5x1 stone slab will fall from the ceiling over the spot where the keyhole is located.
Ouch.
Yeah. Obviously, it's a, like, don't get hit by the giant falling slab of rock, which also acts as a certain, like, now there's a giant slab of rock over the keyhole.
Now look what you've done.
Right. If the gold-colored key is placed in the keyhole, another keyhole will appear on the east wall. This is opened by the golden key as well.
Okay.
Once placed in the locked and turned, the wall, keyhole, and key will vanish. A long silver sword, glowing with a bright blue-white light suspended in midair, will appear in their place.
Oh, damn.
If a character reaches out to touch the sword, a fully armored man, the one depicted in the murals, will appear beside it, take the sword, and attack the person attempting to take it.
I thought this was going to be like you get the Vorpal longsword, snicker snack, baby. But no, now you got to fight a guy.
The man is an illusion and will disappear after 4 rounds. However, characters hit by the illusion will believe they've actually sustained damage and will feel hurt, although no damage was actually taken. The illusion is considered to be AC2. Once the illusion has disappeared, the sword will drop to the floor, still glowing as when the characters first saw it. All characters will immediately realize they took no damage. Characters who may have been killed, holy crap.
I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, will discover they're actually alive and were only asleep.
We'll discover they're actually alive. Wait a minute, I'm not dead?
Yep, you're going to Dallas yourselves back into this. If all the party members are killed, they will wake up a short time later. Holy crap, like, how strong is the solution?
Or how shitty is this party?
No, exactly. The illusion will be gone, the glowing sword will be lying on the floor. The illusion will not reappear if they take the sword before leaving. If the characters decide to touch the sword again, nothing will happen to them, and the sword will feel good in their hands. The sword will always glow when not sheathed. There is no sheath for it in the room, nor will it fit into a sheath not specifically designed for it. The magic properties of the sword are as follows.
Yes, we love a magic sword.
It magically glows and is a +1.
Okay, I'll take a +1 glowy sword.
Exactly. For a low-level dungeon like this, hell yeah. So, and that's kind of that little loop. That finishes that off. But you have like a multi-level protection, several different traps and warning effects and monsters and hazards. That's a nice little, like, I appreciate a good, solid, hefty reward after several layers of kind of crap.
Yeah, after you've had to deal with a bunch of stuff coming out of kind of from nowhere, it's nice having a little bit of a reward that somebody will undoubtedly be able to use.
Yeah. And also, speaking in terms of dungeon design, especially for dungeon crawls, right? I'm going to reference The Legend of Zelda again here. Legend of Zelda does something well in all of its older dungeon designs. And I'm thinking primarily more along the lines of arguably the greatest Zelda ever made. Legend of Zelda Link to the Past on Super Nintendo.
Yeah, well, I have my own favorite Zelda, but we won't argue about that here.
Yeah. So, in those dungeons, you would come across several big chests, and they would be paced at certain points throughout the dungeon. You would need to get all the different pieces to be able to really navigate the dungeon well. But two of them, the map and the compass, were things that you would find relatively early on to help guide you through it. And pacing those things early, giving you something really useful towards the beginning of a dungeon, is exactly the kind of boost you need to pull you in deeper, rather than for people to just bounce off after slogging after so many rooms. So having a whole kind of chunk of dungeon that has a story-related, really kind of like objective kind of treasure in it, I think is good design.
Yeah.
Especially if it is something that is like you're going to be carrying this glowing sword throughout the dungeon, feeling like, I'm living the fantasy. I'm doing
for sure.
it.
I mean, if I was going to say, hey, this was probably somebody's first magic weapon. If this was your first magic weapon, sound off in that, but it probably wasn't, because this, as we know, this adventure did not get played until many, many years later. But I could see this being somebody's first magic. Like, this is their first magic. Oh yeah, a glowing sword +1. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
It would be interesting to go back and kind of compare some of this to the other adventure. We're not doing it in this episode, but comparing the changes that were made to the other Palace of the Silver Princess, the green cover version, would be interesting to see how they considered applying. Sure. Leaving this kind of bathing area and heading south through the caves, you're going to arrive at an open area with a small worshipping alcove in it. This is part of that cave network we were describing. On a raised platform on the western wall is a beautifully carved statue of a woman holding a small girl in her lap. The woman is smiling down at the child, who plays with a small ball clutched in her hand. The inscription at the base of the statue reads, "The secret treasure of one's heart can be found in love." Beneath the inscription, there is a small opening. This is the lock to open a compartment in the base of the statue. Uses the gold coin-like octagons, which were found in the barracks earlier. One of them, inserted into the opening, will open the compartment. Inside, there is a scroll case with a fragment of a verse written in silver ink on vellum parchment. "I came, and what did my eyes behold? A maiden fair with hair of gold, her face a glow by which the sun is shamed. My steed a dragon her innocence did tame, her heart a gem with many facets."
Not bad. Yeah. Solid A- poetry.
As far as fuckboy poetry goes, I've heard.
As far as D&D poetry goes, it's pretty.
Oh
pretty
gosh,
damn good.
No, yeah. So, more evidence that this guy that showed up with the dragon is at least put in the work.
Yeah, was okay. Yeah, maybe this
we don't know.
I mean, if everything around us wasn't in ruins and everyone wasn't dead, we might maybe have but I mean, it seems like everything was okay for a little bit, which is weird.
Allegations abound, but no confirmation
what
yet.
happened. So yeah.
Anyway, this wraps up actually the entire kind of first chunk layer of the dungeon. There are two other wings, one small and one large, left to go through. If you were to head back to, remember I said there's a couple of north-south passageways, but there's that one long central east-west passageway. This is taking you back towards Glitter Bomb Room.
Okay.
You're going to have a three-way intersection coming back from the cave with the worship alcove and the barracks. You're going to either continue straight, going from west to east, to reach the empty rooms with the pit trap and the glitter bomb room, or you can head south. Now, if you keep going past the pit trap rooms, there was another corridor that headed south and east. So it's a question of which one you want to go down first.
We'll do the south and east.
Gotcha. So we're going to go back towards the glitter bomb room, back towards kind of in between the glitter bomb room and the storage rooms, and check
I think
out
that was where
area.
where I decided to go out of the other room one way or the other. It's kind of the continuation of.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. This is on the eastern half of this level. So going down that corridor, you're going to come across a door to a room that is cluttered with many objects, large and small. If any light source is brought in, eerie shadows begin to dance wildly about. One shadow lurking in the corner appears to be human or human-like.
Ooh.
What do we think it is?
A shadow?
Like a shadow,
like
monster
a
shadow? Nope. Well, there is like room to key a monster in this room, but that's not what is casting this particular
Gotcha. Is it a... I don't know.
It's a dressmaker's dummy.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
This was apparently a room used for like sewing or garment making. The room is filled with old bolts of cloth so rotten that merely brushing against them causes them to disintegrate. Hidden in the room is a pincushion ball with a small, delicate platinum needle worth 15 gold.
Wow.
Brought to Lady Argenta from a faraway land. Metal needles are very rare, and platinum ones even rarer. A literal needle in a dungeon haystack.
Wow.
Just absolutely smashed up, busted up room, and there's one platinum needle.
That's a fascinating treasure to have in a dungeon. A platinum needle.
Yeah.
Huh.
If you've ever looked at like if you want to dig into some kind of like little gigas and antiques, hat pins.
Oh yeah.
Spoon collections.
Yeah.
Right? Like little like sewing needles that are antique vintage. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's some really interesting little tricky things that you could make entire tables to fill dungeon treasures with these kinds of little bitty
especially
bits.
hat pin. Well, you say little bitty, especially hat pins, because hat pins at a certain point were designed or were being designed and being purchased by women who, this is in the time when everyone was wearing hats, that they're like swords.
They were basically swords.
Swords. They were using them. They were literally using them again, like as weapons, to fight people off, like to protect themselves from unwanted advances or whatever. They would literally walk around with these very ornate, ostentatious hat pins that if someone fucked with them, whip it out.
While you concerned yourself with matters of politics, I studied the hat pin.
That's right. And just go to work. A hat pin as a hat pin and needle as a treasure is incredible. That's awesome.
That might be worth like a bard
for
or
sure.
a rogue with like a concealed short sword.
Absolutely. That there's historical precedence.
Yep. All right, so you can continue following this corridor. It's going to kind of curl around from the east to the south. Uh-huh. There is another false door to waste your time on. I like that they're just there's few of them. There's only been like 4 so far, and I like that there's only been a few of them, but they're funny. Every time I come across one, I want to try to figure out something that's going to make them stand out a little bit and just be like that 1 inch further in the, maybe this time.
Maybe this is a door. Maybe this door will be different.
Right. 99% of gamblers fail before the big win. This one, though, you're not getting tricked on, and you get tricked 100%.
If they're smart, they're built in such a way that not only are they false doors, but they're locked, and you can't really tell that it's a false door. Maybe they have it built into where like the door is thinner than it appears, so there's a little bit of like room behind it. And you have your thief having to like pick the lock, make it really complicated, and he beats it, and you open it up, and it's literally just the same wall that the door's on.
You tap on it to hear if it's just false, if it's just wall in the side of it, and there's like a
because they created it'd be even funnier if they like just created a little open area right at the area, like right in the place where people would knock, where the rest of it is still flat.
All right. Well, proceeding past this, you're going to come across a couple more rooms. The first one has sand covering the entire floor of what was once a lavishly decorated room. Glints of silver can be seen in the sand near the center of the room. Players that search the sand will find strands of dancing bells on small, delicate chains. Hidden underneath the sand is a 10-foot deep pit near the center of the room. Players that go near it have a 25% chance of falling in. So it's got a trap door on it, and the sand is covering the trap door from being seen. Trapped in the pit is a barrack, Baric, who fell in and is now nearly dead from starvation. Due to the fact that it has starved, it gets a -2 to all 2-hit rolls.
What is a barrack?
There's a notation to see end of module, so hang tight.
Also, let me say this as we're kind of getting into this. We've talked about all the stuff that happened at the beginning. To kind of roll back to that, like, why did they really want to shelve this module? Right? Was it for the weird? Was it for the salacious? Was it for the? Let me put this forward. This is such a feminine dungeon. In just all of the little touches that are. That, like, this is clearly a palace for a princess, right? I mean, it's the palace of the Silver Princess, but this is a palace for the princess. This isn't a palace where the princess lived. This was the property of the princess, and Gene Wells has made it a very. I mean, I don't want to get too horribly deep into this, but she's made it a very feminine space. You're not finding. You find, some of the weapons and stuff, but where they are, but you're finding, gems, you're finding jewels, you're in a bathroom, like a spa area. You're in, like, you find dancing bells in like a non-salacious like way. It's
we're less likely to have found like a dressmaker's room or a tailor's room.
Yes, in a dungeon that was, and it really feels, it has a different vibe from other dungeons. And so I would have to look at the other version, which I think I will do once we've finished. Just scan it over. Maybe I'll do the other version at some point in the future. Just to see if they're
looking at feminine dungeon construction versus.
Well, I mean, even if I'm just curious to see if they pulled that stuff out.
Yeah.
Like how much of it remained, because there's no reason to pull out some of this stuff that's just window dressing, unless you were concerned that, oh, hey, this dungeon's a little girly. Maybe we need to make it a little more manly.
Well, like when we think of dungeon design or like keep design, right? This is the palace of the Silver Princess. If we think of it as a defensive fortification, such as the keep on the borderland, right? We're thinking about it in terms of a place that could be assaulted and a place that is built for defense. And so a lot of the features that are present are built with that in mind, versus a place to be inhabited, a place to be lived within, I don't want to get too deep into that historical side of it, because it's things that I don't have enough knowledge into. People say for sure, but it feels like where you might see differences in, say, castles that you see in Germany versus castles older. So I'm remembering when I went to Italy and we went to Assisi, and we were told Assisi is kind of this like older medieval town. It feels very different than the Renaissance era of most of Italy, that has like Florence especially was heavily Renaissance filled with everything that you would have for the Renaissance, the artwork, the architecture, all of it. Whereas Assisi, on top of a hill, surrounded by a wall, has a big old basilica in it, which was where St. Francis of Assisi's tomb is. And it feels much more medieval in that construction. And it's very clearly like built with a certain amount of purpose.
I really only bring that up because of the storied and, we'll say, checkered history of this. It's kind of telling. I feel like it's almost too coincidental that this is the dungeon that got shelved. Right at this point, I kind of feel this feels too coincidental. Not only was it, all the background and all this stuff, but like this feels kind of like a feminine. It has more feminine. It has more of a feminine vibe to it than other dungeons that we've run through, even in this same sort of linear like line of dungeons, right? And I can see some people being like, "Oh, we can't." I mean, we can't let the girl create a girl dungeon.
Our particular, it doesn't trigger our particular desires, so therefore it's
right, exactly. We can't have a girl dungeon. It has to be a boy dungeon because all of our players are boys.
Well, in the back half of the module, now that we're spending some time here, let's take a kind of look around, because there is a whole new monster section that is multiple pages, about 4 pages worth of brand new monsters, which is the kind of thing that if I'm a DM, I don't necessarily want a reskinned hobgoblin. I want a brand new.
Yeah, I would assume that most of this module is all these brand new monsters.
Yeah, so bubbles are described with a lot more, like all the monsters we've seen so far, they're described with a lot more detail in the back.
Gotcha.
Bubbles are giant air pockets that have been given life and intelligence by countless unsuccessful magical potion experiments that were discarded into the water where they were formed.
Oh, okay.
They're the result of like just tossing all your bad potions into the lake rather than disposing of them in an environmentally responsible way.
Yeah.
After years of thoughtless dumping, it's Captain Planet, the Planeteers, and a monster. The potions mix together to create these bubble monsters. And for the most part, bubbles will only be found in this module, though it is possible a few might escape into a stream or river and be carried elsewhere. And it describes the process of hitting them, engulfing them, dragging them into the surface. Barracks, which is why we came here, B-A-R-I-C, are rat-like creatures with 6 legs, black fur, and eyes that glow white just before it attacks. Instead of a normal rat-like face, it has a duck-like bill filled with many rows of small, needle-sharp teeth.
Weird.
It's a tough scavenger that has been known to defeat a small pack of wild dogs by itself and is considered an excellent hunter.
Okay.
Barracks don't form family units, nor do they can be seen in packs running wild in woods, nor frequented by humans or humankind. The strongest barrack is the leader of the pack, and their social system resembles that of wild wolves. So they can be seen in packs.
Wow.
Barracks are sometimes used for hunting or pursuing escaped prisoners or slaves. These are the rodents of unusual size. However, due to their unpredictable nature, training and handling a barrack is very dangerous. Many have turned on their trainers and killed them before they could be saved. Barracks are about 3 feet long, weighing 40 to 50 pounds. Males are known to reach a length of 7 feet and weigh nearly 100 pounds.
Wow.
Females usually give birth to between 2 and 5 pups, 2 or 3 times a year. 20% of those don't live to adulthood, as the males tend to eat them when the females are not around to protect the young. Remember, this module, the original Orange module, was written almost like a mini campaign setting, very similar to In Search of the Unknown. So this is kind of like, here's a whole bunch of things and their ecology that you can use to like fill this area. Like finding a group of barracks in the woods as you're approaching this place would not be out of the ordinary. Right. Or finding like monsters killed by them and the remains of them, like a pack of dogs ripped to shreds, and this is the thing that eats them, and then you fall in the pit trap in the sandy room and go, oh fuck, that's what killed them.
Fascinating.
Yeah. The Diger is described in a little bit more detail in here. Unique creatures that can be found in remote abandoned ruins where they seek stone areas to disguise themselves as a marble pool. They are capable of flying short distances by expanding their rubbery body with natural helium. Naturally safe occurring helium.
So they inflate like a balloon.
Yep. And then they expel the helium in short puffs from one of 4 openings in the body to propel. They are only able to fly for 8 turns before they must land and rest for 24 turns.
Okay.
When swimming, they simply expel the helium as with flying, but they glide further and only need to rest after swimming for 20 turns. Its favorite mode of travel is to enter a large river or stream, glide along a strong current, and float to the surface. While moving in this fashion, it doesn't need to rest or sleep. Except to sleep, sorry. They have no method to attack except to paralyze whatever may happen to come in contact with the paralyzing liquid it secretes as part of its camouflage. Save versus paralyzation is allowed. Once they have fallen into the liquid, that person and all their belongings will dissolve and be ingested within 48
It's
hours.
Interesting, this and the moss and how it's almost like if you knew about this ahead of time, it wouldn't work. If this was a thing where like Diger was as familiar as a goblin or an orc, they couldn't work because
or a carrion.
Yeah, because okay, oh no, that's a dagger. Cool, we know what to do with that because it can't really hurt you. So its real attack ability is the fact that you don't know what it is and you truly like stumble into it, which I think is really cool because I think a lot of I occasionally find some older monsters, they're almost a little less fun because there's like one way to kill them or what, it's like hydras, right? Everyone knows you cut a hydra's head off and 2 more heads. So it almost kind of ruins hydras because everyone's gonna go with, I mean, you could, and if you play along and pretend like you don't know, but you're not, I mean, who does that? That's silly. Like, so no one's gonna be surprised by a hydra, but you'll be surprised by a dagger. Because it makes no sense.
And that's where like being able to take and create these kind of unique and interesting things, but also they follow a certain logic. They follow the logic of camouflage. They follow the logic of ambush predators. That's something that I really appreciate. But they're just fantasy enough that they're weird.
Yes, very much so.
All right, wrapping up last couple of rooms that are on this wing. There is a rectangular room south of the room that has the sand and the bells in it. The first thing that will be noticed are the arrases, the tapestries, the tapas,
right,
hanging from all 4 walls, and the many couches circled around a 5-foot wide decorative wheel painted on the floor. Various pillows of many sizes, now musty and falling apart, are scattered randomly around the room. Crushed and punctured wine goblets are piled in one corner of the room. In another corner sits a small lap harp with no strings. Candle holders, a few of which are very decorative, set on small tables, almost the size of stools, near each couch. This is the salon. The arrases are as rotten as most of the materials so far encountered. The couches are made of marble and have been cemented to the floor.
Ouch.
The 7 decorative candle holders are made of silver, so you could steal the candle holders.
Yeah. Liberate them.
50 gold each.
Shit, yeah.
The harp, that's 350 gold. The harp in the corner is an ice harp. If the players examine it closely, they will discover it is made of crystal. And though no strings can be seen, when touched, sweet, clear music will be heard. Play that sweet ice harp music. The harp's magical properties.
Play that sweet ice harp music. Why?
We'll find a way to make it work.
That's right.
We absolutely will. Like, I can see. Oh God. See, now I'm picturing. So, like a harp player in blues, or right, is a harmonica player essentially, right? The harp is, but and ice harp is like the guy's name is Ice, and he plays the harp.
Yeah.
Ugh. I keep coming up with bards. That's my problem. Is I keep making new bards.
That's my problem. I keep creating new bards. Yes, Russell, bringing new bards into the world is definitely a problem.
We're going to be doing a one-shot soon, and the one-shot is
Oops, all bards.
A group of 10th level adventurers that are taking a much-needed break at a Disney theme park that has managed to breach the multiverse into D&D.
Oh, fun.
So it is your D&D characters at a Disney theme park. Only at the Disney park, like, everything is real.
Sure.
Like the ghosts at the Haunted Mansion are real ghosts.
Oh, that's fun.
Because they've taken advantage of all the different worlds. Anyway, one of the characters that I pitched for this one shot was the bard, who is like just the worst possible thing that could go into a Disney theme park with that group of people. It's Ferris Bueller on Ferris Bueller's Day Off at the park. Charms all the cast members, gets bumped to priority in all the rides, somehow winds up at the head of the parade, like just a guy who was like winning at being at the theme park. And that was the pitch for that bard. It's like a bard at Disneyland. You don't need to add anything else to it. That's bad enough. He's a bard at Disneyland.
Right. Insufferable in an insufferable location.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing. Harp's magical properties, the ice harp's properties, are such that any skilled harpist, a skill many players may lack, according to the parentheticals, playing it can calm and relax any beast listening to it. So if you had a player that just picked harp, and they find this thing, you might be able to trivialize so many encounters.
Oh yeah, most of what we've run into thus far. I mean, unless you don't consider a Bantic a beast, you could the Bantic, the snake, the cave bear.
Yeah, there've been several beasts that we've run into. It does save versus spell, and its value is 600 gold, which is pretty good. Circling around outside these rooms You're going to hit one more room. There's a statue of a small dragon readying for flight, leaning against the northeast corner of this partly carved out room. It looks like they kind of halfway finished setting up this room. A set of stairs going up is in the north wall. The whole room appears to have been cut from the living rock instead of built from rocks brought in from mountain quarries. This area does not appear to be made from marble, like most of the rest of the place. There is a false doorway on the western wall with an iron ring. If it is grasped, a poison needle will spring out and pierce the hand of the grasper. Save versus death.
Oh,
yeah.
I gotta say, I love when poison used to mean something.
Yep. So this area of the dungeon is now finished. The stairs lead upwards to the upper level. There is one more wing of this lower level still to cover, which goes back all the way to that three-way junction we described, where you're heading south. So kind of backtracking to this area, there's an interesting kind of, it looks like there's meant to be there are these doorways that are kind of like halfway closed off, and I'm not sure quite what that's about. Like there's meant to be either bridges carrying you across this kind of central area or something. It doesn't really go into much detail, but it's interesting. But if you go from this three-way junction directly south, you're going to come across a room on the west. Inside this room, there is an overturned oaken table with 3 benches, and that is all that remains. The floor is thickly covered in dust. Nothing seems to have been disturbed in a long time. There is a large sack in the southeast corner, and large blood stains are smeared on the floor next to it. Within the sack are 3 human skulls, a dagger blade, and 11 silver. There are many vile-looking but harmless spiders living in the skulls.
Hey.
Under the sack is a bloody finger joint. It appears to be fresh.
Good lord.
Yep. And you can key a monster to this room.
You should. You should key too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. But it's also only a 10 by 10 room, so it's a pretty small room.
Wow.
So, heading south, there is a doorway, which leads to a long hallway that extends south quite a long distance, like 80 feet, and goes down several levels. Like it has several ramps leading down. You're going to come across one door on the east and one door on the west before you hit the bottom of this long hallway. The door on the east opens into a large rectangular room with many implements of torture.
We're in the what do you call it? Grimdark section of the dungeon.
Yep. The dirty underbelly.
Yes.
An iron maiden hangs in one corner. Rusted, long-neglected branding irons lie scattered around the filthy, blood-stained straw. You got to keep your weapons you got to keep your torture implements maintained. Right? That's just the basic sanitary principles of running a good workplace environment. Assorted sizes and lengths of chain encircle several skeletons hanging limply against the walls. Small wooden cages hang from the ceiling. Caught in the door of one is a bit of what appears to be a tattered nightgown. Several mice peer out of holes and cracks in the gray stone walls. The room is empty when the party enters. After one round, a crazed old man, Travis, with a meat cleaver, will come up the stairs from the south and appear in the doorway. He will laugh insanely and then attack the closest person to him.
What?
Yep.
This
Meet Travis.
This just became like, this is like Silent Hill.
Yeah, you said it. Grimdark area of the dungeon. He will laugh insanely and attack the person closest. Travis is an old, crazed warrior who will scream at the players, saying that he knew they could not resist his treasure. No one could, he laughs. Not even his companions. He knows that they have come to steal his great treasure, and so they all must die, just as others before them.
I think we've
attack until
met this
either
guy before.
Yeah, crazy old man.
Yeah.
At various,
Yes.
he sounds like a Mark Acre special. Is what it feels like. He will attack until either he or the characters are dead. He will neither surrender nor allow himself to be captured. No treasure can be found on him or in the room.
Well, he wouldn't just carry such a valuable treasure around with him. It's got to be hidden somewhere.
Yep. Heading further down the hallway after dispatching Travis.
We hardly knew ye.
Yep. There is a room that smells like horrible rotting carcasses because that's what's inside the room.
Horrible rotting carcasses? Yeah. Well.
Mounds of rotten, decayed bodies of unlucky adventurers covering almost every inch of the floor.
My God.
Yep.
Just
Travis's playpen.
Yeah.
Characters with constitutions of less than 7 will not be able to enter the room without becoming ill for 2 to 7 rounds from the smell and gory sight. The bodies have all been thoroughly searched prior to the party finding them. There is nothing of value to be found. If you head south, you will corridor will bend to the west, and you will find Travis's bedroom.
Oh, great.
Yep. There's a small pallet of fresh straw near the northwest corner of this room. A wooden trencher, a pair of eating knives, and a pewter wine goblet rest neatly on a table in the center of the room. Several old tapestries have been carelessly hung on the walls, and bits of fur and other types of floor covering form a makeshift rug. A burning lantern hangs over the table. This is Travis's room.
Sure.
On the east wall, behind the tapestry, is a peephole that he uses to spy out into the hallway, which is how we saw you go into the room.
Travis had a system.
Right? Travis is a sovereign citizen.
Yes. Oh, 100%. This isn't a court. This is an admiralty. I'm not a corporation. I'm a traveling person.
He's got gold buried somewhere in here.
100%. Yeah, he was talking about his treasure. It's in a mayonnaise jar buried somewhere.
Yep. Hidden underneath the pallet, protected by a loose stone in the floor, is a small wooden case. This is Travis's personal treasure. 2 rubies worth 300 gold.
I mean,
a large emerald worth 2,000 gold.
I mean, Travis doesn't play.
A gold wedding ring with the initials D and B carved in the shape of a heart on the inside worth 10 gold.
Does not ring a bell.
And a gem-studded throwing dagger +2.
Oh.
However, it only receives the +2 magical bonus if the dagger is thrown.
I mean, okay.
It's worth 400 gold. These were all taken from the victims that are in another room.
Yeah. Makes sense. That +2 jewel throwing dagger is dope.
That's pretty nice,
That's
right?
cool. That's real cool.
That's like one thief's perfect fantasy.
Yes, oh my God. The number of times I've tried to make throwing daggers or throwing daggers work and be somewhat optimal in a D&D game is greater than 20.
It also reminds me of, from Game of Thrones, Dario Naharis.
Yes.
The guy who threw the dagger with the like really ostentatious naked woman.
Yeah.
That he spent a little too long smooching before hurling.
Yes.
Yeah. And using that to just not take a dude out in one
absolutely.
shot.
That's your opener.
Like, that's my fighter fantasy, is to be that guy. It's like, here's a dagger for you, buddy. All right, so you can proceed. The hallway only goes to the west, but it has several doors as it goes. The first one that you come across will have a door leading south into the room. Directly across from this door is a huge wooden table in good condition. Behind it is an ornately carved wooden chair. On the table is a candle sconce, feathered quill, blank scroll, and string of colored wooden beads. This is Travis's courtroom.
Oh God. Yes, where he has to hold, where he entertains.
Well, where he sits in judgment.
Oh, that kind of courtroom.
It's that kind of courtroom. He uses it to hold court if he decided to impress some of his victims. Yeah, Travis is a full-on serial killer.
Wow. Yeah, he's got his whole little area up here.
Yeah. This paper scroll, pen, and candle sconce are still in good condition, were obviously used by Travis where he passed judgment on the accused. However, the beads will be a mystery to the adventurers.
God, don't touch them. Don't touch the beads. I'm going to go right now. I don't know what the beads are, but they're bad.
Don't touch Travis's beads.
No. Travis's beads are Travis's business.
Nope. They are message beads used by dead soldiers found in the room where the heads were severed off. The messages depicted on the beads must be determined by the DM. And there are also 3 blanks for you to key 3 different traps for this room.
What? Wow.
Travis was not playing.
Go nuts. Yeah, just go nuts. Just go nuts, fam.
I gotta admit, from a kind of certain the hills have eyes
perspective.
No. From a certain true crime serial killers being a trend in modern culture, in popular culture today, this fits kind of right into that niche. Into that's very tongue and groove kind of thing. Yeah,
absolutely. You know? He would trap this courthouse this courtroom that he's made for himself, and if he's bringing you in there to pass judgment, you're all tied up and shit. He sets you off to the side and turns off all the traps. You can't have some random person sneaking into your courtroom. It's a place of justice, Russell.
Well, could you imagine being like that one member of the party that's kind of hanging back a little bit from the rest, and you get like snaked, right? You just get clocked, or maybe you fall unconscious and something happens and you're just found and dragged away, and then you wake up here in chains, stripped, and Travis is there, going like, and you're like groggy. And it's a horror movie, right? Mm-hmm. Like he might have the bloody bodies of someone else in here. There's a whole lot of like elements that you can use this to really amp up a horror aspect for this.
Well, shit, this is what happens when you walk into the purple fungus room and everybody fails their save. You end up in Travis's summary judgment courtroom.
Yeah, Travis could haul the bodies out.
I
like it. But again, you were talking about kind of feminine versus masculine block construction or dungeon destruction. I mean, women consume a lot of true crime podcasts. Right now. We know this. This is the kind of thing that if you were designing this kind of dungeon today, this is a character that I could see fitting into that kind of dungeon construction 100% today.
Yeah, this doesn't necessarily fully lean into what I was kind of talking about, but I could almost see people saying, so you got half the dungeon, right? Right? Like, but it's an interesting, the fact that everything before was kind of, at least you kind of got the vibe it was clean and feminine, should have you asking, like, where did this shit come from?
Yeah. So if you head west, there's several different kind of rooms interconnected here that are all part of Travis's domain. Sure. Going west out of Travis's courtroom is a small hallway that connects southward to another larger room. There's a door on the very southeast corner of this larger room. It has been swept entirely clean. It is empty of all furnishings. There isn't a single speck of dirt or dust anywhere inside of it. The note says that Travis is a very clean man. All the rooms he claimed as his territory were used for a specific reason or kept completely clean. Because Travis is messed up in the
fact that they throw Travis at you at the front, they throw him at you in a way that ensures that you're going to kill him. Because he's there's no way of not killing him. And then they show you his weird, like, area is brilliant.
His murder room, his kind of messed up courtroom. Could you imagine if the two thieves, the women thieves you ran into,
I was thinking
like stories about that?
Yeah. I was thinking about that. Yeah. This may get them to stay with the party if they're like, holy shit, at least we didn't run into Travis.
Yeah, obviously a kind of knee-jerk reaction way of using them here could be that if the players run them off or refuse to work with them, they are later found here, either able to be rescued from Travis's courtroom. Like they kill Travis, they get to the courtroom, and there's the two women because he was holding court over them, and they're tied up, and you manage to save them just in time, or not, depending on how you feel about fridging just two women NPCs. My tip: don't do that.
Avoid that. Maybe
would be avoided. So anyway, if you follow a door to the southeast in this little corridor area, you're going to get into stairs that take you up to the tower level. Okay. There is an upper level of the palace, and then there is a tower level that kind of sticks out separate as a tower to the palace. But we're going through the rest of this area because there's only a little bit left in this wing. You can head west past Travis's domain, and hit again, you're leaving kind of the marbled carved area of the dungeon and into more rough cavern areas of the dungeon. So this cavern-like area splits off of the marble hallway to the north and south. Which direction are
Let's
you?
go north.
Going north, turning to the right. The first thing you're going to come across is a small cave that kind of sticks off the main passageway, filled with ornate and delicately carved life-size statues of different men and women. Many candles and other burnt offerings lie before each of the statues. Marble benches form a circle in the center of the room. The statues represent unknown gods and goddesses. Hidden in one of their arms is a wand of light. Players will have to successfully search or detect for secret doors on the statues in order to find the wand. It has only 3 charges left and looks the same as any other wand, which is an odd detail, but there you go. You can key a monster or a trap to this room. Heading deeper in, the cavern is going to twist around to a T intersection going north or further. If you head north, you're going to curl up into a little dog leg that ends in a room with some water in it. Behind the bars of the entrance to this cave, because there is a little barred notation for barred doors in front of it, or it's a portcullis. Yeah, the represents a portcullis. Pitch black water can be seen, as well as a glint of gold from time to time. Hot winds seem to come from this barred area. The dampness on the walls is apparent for the droplets that fall to the floor. Moisture fills the air and clings to clothes, skin, and hair. The floor is slick with warm water. Characters have a chance to fall because of slipperiness. After they fall once, they are safe, as they will grow accustomed to the wetness. Beyond that, there's nothing else in the room.
Can you get through the portcullis? Can you lift it up?
Oh yeah, you have to lift the portcullis
to get into the room. Gotcha.
Yeah,
and that's it. Okay,
but that's it. There is no. This is another the room as written has a statue on the map description of it, but the room itself does not describe, in the text of the module, does not describe a statue. So either this was an oversight when it was created, kind of as has been mentioned, or it was intentionally left blank. I'm going to say that this is likely an oversight or an editing error, because this is also at the very bottom of a page, and then it is the last entry before going into key to the upper level part 4. This also means that 2 additional rooms further into this little caverny area, because this is keyed room 36, rooms 37 and 38 are not described in the module.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that was intentional, or if that was they got sort of left out.
So you have 2 rooms that are described in here still. One that has a statue with a pair of lovers in it, and then another room full of stalactites and stalagmites with a green or with a pink glow. There is a statue of a woman beckoning people to approach in a maze of stalactites in a different room. Anyone that manages to make their way through the maze may fall into a pit.
Oh, so it beckons you into a pit, right?
Yep. So there's this is basically like a statue grotto in this downstairs area, or in this caverny area. But all of these are, those are all described. And then there is a staircase that leads up to a room numbered 37 with a secret door. And then that secret door goes to another room numbered 38 that has some kind of either a trap in the ceiling or a statue in it. But neither room are described in the module. And room 36 ends on page 16 of the original module, and page 17 picks up with the key to the upper level, beginning with room 1 of the upper level.
Weird.
So this is what has been mentioned by some criticism of the module, is that this is they stopped, these rooms didn't get filled in or added or were cut, or something happened to them.
That does feel weird. That feels very strange.
Yep. It's also possible that for some reason they're kind of a orphaned or parented somewhere else in the module, and we just haven't come across them. But ultimately, I think that they got cut and left off. There is one more room that we have not covered that is in the module, that is downstairs in this area, and that is the prison.
Oh, okay.
If you were to head south at that original intersection instead of heading north, then you would come across a group of jail cells labeled A through K. All the jail cells are locked. The set of keys mentioned in room 5 earlier will open all of the cells. Note this whole area would be an excellent place to hide monsters and treasures. Noted in here, in one of the cells, cell D, are 2 large marmoset monkeys who will attack anyone that enters the room except for Travis.
Oh.
The marmosets stand 8 feet high when erect. They have 12-foot long tails. They use not only for balance, but attacking. They are tipped by sharp, furry spikes.
Holy shit. This is a new monster, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say?
I mean, marmosets are...
A marmoset is an actual thing, right? But marmosets are really small.
Yeah. No, they're described later down in the module. So they're big marmosets, and they have weaponized tails.
Wild.
Travis has other treasure in here, which they are protecting. All the items are locked in 3 large metal chests. The first chest contains a large mixture of coins of several different realms, totaling 1,000 copper, 400 silver, and 200 gold, because they've been taken from all the different adventures that have come in here, and he's bushwhacked. The second chest holds a variety of jewelry, mostly artificial or costume jewelry, worth 500 total gold. The last one is full of swords, daggers, and helms, because he stripped all of the useful armaments from them. Only one of the swords is magical, with a bonus of +1. It is indistinguishable from the rest of the swords, unless a detect magic spell is cast on it.
Wow. So Travis wasn't lying about the treasure. So you doubted Travis. Just because he was a crazy meat cleaver wielding madman with a little horror parlor of bodies that he had created seemingly for funsies. The man was loaded. The man was loaded.
Here's another kind of piece that I'm wondering about this. He said something about his companions.
He did.
He claimed something about like he had to kill his companions and and I'm wondering if like he and some others might not have moved in down here. And he is just, the one who eventually went crazy enough to kill all of them. And it's possible that some of their bodies are back
for sure.
The abattoir, and their stuff
I'm sure they are.
Now that we've cleared out the lower level of the palace, there are 2 areas that players can get into. We've kind of talked about a couple of entrances. One will take you to a guard tower, which is called TL in the module, tower level. And the other will take you to the upper level of the palace, or the UL. We're going to talk about the tower level first because it's actually pretty quick to describe, and it's also kind of weird. This is indicative of kind of the strange kind of structure that this has in it, because the module, again, is written in a way to act like a campaign booklet. So it's got a full-on, 4 or 5 pages of monster manual. It's got a lot of DM stuff in it. This is kind of like an all-in-one DMG monster manual player's handbook. And the tower level at the end of the module has descriptions of the rooms, but it relies on you to spend most of your time in the monster manual section. There are 7 rooms scattered around the guard tower, but as is noted, the entire level is guarded by creatures called the Protectors. And this might very well be the first time you see the name Protector somewhere in the module. It says the DM may decide to remove the Protectors to put monsters, treasure, and traps in this area at a later time. This is considered to be a resting place, a haven for lawful characters. No chaotic or neutral character may enter here without being challenged by a Protector. Lawful characters will be allowed to come and go freely and may never know that the Protectors are here. So the rooms here are kind of like perfect for a lawful party to come in, take a break, and then dive back in. And the stairwell at the top of it, there are weapons racks. There are rooms with windows kind of overlooking the surrounding area. There are several different chambers kind of scattered around this octagonal area. And there is a gong that, when rung, can be heard for miles. But who are the Protectors? What do they matter? Why are they important? So if you dive down into the monster section, there's a description of all the different new monsters that are in here, including the Protectors. And they are translucent green beings a gentle folk, protecting all lawful creatures that may enter the place they are guarding. They wear long, flowing robes that appear to move in the breeze, even though there are no movements at all. Most protectors are bald men, though some may appear as women with long, flowing hair. Their bodies are slender, giving them the appearance of being much taller than they are, and they float 6 to 10 inches above the ground. They don't speak aloud, as their race is capable of telepathy, and they know instantly the alignment of the being or creature entering their protected area. Anything or anyone who is not lawful, except for animals, will be immediately attacked. They will never attack a lawful creature, even if it is attacking them. The protectors know that lawful beings would not attack them if they understood the protector's purpose. As superior being...
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you're stabbing us, but I mean, you're lawful, so...
Right.
I mean, we know you don't mean it, so we're going to give you a pass on this one.
Right. As superior beings, they overlook the mistakes of other lawfuls and help lawfuls gain a better understanding of how to live properly. To them, this means protecting lawful things and eliminating the chaotic things to make a better world. So, really heavy on the alignment chart.
Yeah, this is back when alignment charts, means something. If you haven't filled it out, you're filling it out right now, baby.
There is a reason Belker carries a thin lead sheet around at all times.
That's right. That's like the second reference to old school Order of the Stick on this podcast.
Yeah.
And there are many more to come.
Our inspiration well is kind of predictable.
Yeah, well, we're old, so...
But yeah, the protectors, they strike me as either a weird nod to like really powerful, almost alien, mystical or magical entities. They strike me as almost a little sci-fi. Like this is obviously, from the 80s, from the late 70s.
Sure.
To me, the first things that immediately come to my mind are Stargate SG-1.
Really?
So, well, there are so many instances of or Babylon 5, so many instances of other higher order, beings or species that humanity is just kind of bumbling around to them. The Vorlons in Babylon 5, Thor and the Asgards from SG-1, you kind of may not know what exactly is happening, and you might think that these are ghosts that are attacking the party, except for the fact that the lawful characters may not ever see them. And if you're in a party that has some chaotic people in it, then, suddenly it's oh crap, what do we do? It's well, if you understood our reasonings, then, you would totally understand why we have to stab and kill your friend here.
Yeah.
Or more likely, why we have to hover menacingly around your friend, put our long, thin hands on our big bulbous brains, and cook them from the inside out.
Yeah, not a good way to go.
So, there is a tower, but it might be a mixed bag, depending on what your party is like.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be interesting. I think it would be funny to have a group that was all chaotic just roll in and then just not realize that these things are not this sort of holier than thou. Well, we're chaotic. You're chaotic good, but it's the chaos that we have a problem with.
Yeah.
And then just jump everybody and just another monster that you have to deal with, that you're just oh, this is another unique monster for the module. But in all reality, they're not really a monster. They're just sort of an alignment check.
And
interesting.
There's also the question of why are they here?
Right. And now, so for this module, does it, because a lot of things that are in this are not explained intentionally.
And that's where I think that there's some debate.
They want the DM to put it forward, right? So do they explain what the protectors are doing here? Yeah,
they're creating a place for lawful people, and they're punking all the chaotic people. But as far as how they got here in the first place, how they connect to the princess,
the overall lore of the thing, not really.
Nope, not a bit.
Huh.
Yeah. Now, this is again where, you know, the author may be trying to put in some things from their own home games where they have, you know, experience before. They thought this was cool. This is a new way to bring in a new monster. And so here's a chance to like introduce these people. It could be that, as, you know, like a lot of these things, as we mentioned, this is intentionally vague to allow for all sorts of different kinds of explanations. Perhaps these are a lawful or just like strictly like, imagine if someone had half of their alignment chopped off. Like if they, in the transition to becoming this superior race of lawful, telepathic, you know, translucent beings, they completely chop off the good, neutral, or evil half of their alignment for whatever purpose. And so
they're just pure lawful.
That's it. They're just lawful. And as a result of that, like, they are just here, and they happen to be here for whatever reason. There doesn't necessarily need to be an explanation. They just connect to this location, and they just kind of begin infesting it for whatever purpose.
Right.
And so that might be an interesting way to introduce them. It's possible, kind of like the Guardians of Oa, that they may like connect with more lawful members of the party. If you hate the like, well, I don't want to make all my chaotic playing friends feel, you know, weird about this. It's possible that they may, you know, frown on them, but lavish like help upon the people who are actually lawful, you know, kind
make
of like
less violent and more snooty.
Yeah, exactly. Give them give aid, or make it a enjoyable, restful, comfortable place for the lawful characters, and make it terrible, awful itchiness. It just sucks. It just
hostile
sucks.
Architecture.
Basically, yes.
It's like all the it's like all the downtowns for major cities now. They put like spikes on everything, so people don't sleep on them. Which I'm gonna go ahead and be don't do that. Fucking stop it. Let people be where they need to be. I'm not gonna make this a thing, but
hey, you know, it'd be better if you took all the money you spent on that and instead spent it on good services. If you instead actually treated addiction like an illness and not like a moral failing, you know. Anyway, back to Dungeons and Dragons. Right, exactly. Back to our lawfully aligned, bald, translucent Mars Attacks people who are just melting.
Mars Attacks, yes.
Right,
I gotcha. That's
if
awesome.
They just showed up and started going ack ack ack, I think that would just be
with their ray guns. That's a different module that we will get to one day.
No, yes. All right, so that's really it for the tower level. That's all it is. It's just kind of like this little appendage that has this thing, and because it's a semi appendage, and it's also a nice like chance for the players to like find this tower. Deal with the protectors however they need to. Suddenly they have a place where they can take long rests, where they can recuperate. And maybe they may even start looking at the Palace of the Silver Princess as like, hey, you know, we start cleaning this place out. This could be real estate.
Yeah, you have a party of adventurers who are looking to flip this, like an episode of what's the home flipping show with the two brothers? Oh,
okay. Until you said with the two brothers, I was like, you gotta really nail it down. There's
two brothers that are like identical but not identical.
I 100% know who you're talking about, and proud to say I know no other details because I cannot watch them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to come up with one either. But anyway, if you know what that is, put it in the comments section. I will give you a crisp high five. For knowing that, but that's what I'm thinking.
There you go. So anyway, let's head to the rest of the upper level for the palace, which is at a different location from the lower level to access. When you enter, this is where like paying attention to how the map is laid out is important, because when you enter from the lower level, you might normally think that's going to be room keyed number 1. It's not. It's room like 19, halfway through the whole thing. So there's you could go look at room 1 in the upper level and think, oh, this is the natural place where players enter. No, it's not. So if you just start reading flat down through this, trying to run it for people, you're gonna have a bad time unless you really pay attention.
You have to pay attention, yeah.
And those are points that are in the favor of like, with a little bit more paying attention to the editing and layout. maybe this could have felt a little stronger.
Yeah, there's a difference between. I mean, it really is. I think boils down to, and when we get through the entire module, I want to kind of have a cap, because I did a little bit of research in some adjoining time, and I want to have a little bit of a cap on like sort of where we come down on like why this whole thing happened and why this module never really saw the light of day. What is the most likely thing?
Right.
But something like this, it really does kind of boil down to the argument is, oh, well, this is going to be better for the players. And in this case, where the numbering is all over the place, yeah, I can, especially for beginning characters, like I think there is genuinely a nugget of truth there. There are definitely things in the orange version of the module that are confusing in a way that can be very easily fixed,
right,
without necessarily throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
Right. Well, we're going to talk about one of the aspects of what happened with this module, and that is another one of the unique monsters that were introduced, the Ubue, because they immediately make an appearance when the players enter the upper level. So when you're taking the stairs up from the entry level to the upper level, the first room you're going to enter has a group of Ubues in it, Ubue. From the descriptions in the book, these beings vaguely resemble humans, but have 3 heads, 3 arms, and 3 legs.
These guys.
Yeah.
We mentioned them
we talked about them
at the top of the episode. Yeah, at least we talked about the illustration.
Oh, yeah. There is a single full-page illustration in the orange version of this that was cut for the green version that shows the Ubues, and they actually... there was some debate or discussion over, this was not actually what I intended versus this is what was printed versus whose faces were on what. But if you go to the description of the Ubues in the guide, one of the 3 heads will always be of a different sex from the other 2. And it will always be in the middle. The sex of the Ubue is determined by how many heads it has of one sex. 2 male heads indicates it will be male, and vice versa. Due to this division of heads, there is a great deal of argument between the heads from time to time. Sometimes these arguments are untimely, as in the middle of a battle. So these Ubue are either 2 male heads and a female head, or 2 female heads and a male head, which determines kind of the overall sex according to the module.
Right.
Discussions of social gender constructs notwithstanding.
Yes, and discussions of, I think in this time it was probably, and this is probably going to be a little bit gross, but we're all thinking it. I doubt it was a conversation about gender construct and more a conversation about what you got going on down there.
Or more likely, a rough-handed way of trying to get in the nattering heads of people to work out in a way that, like, you create a social construct around it. Because the ultimate point of the Ubues is to have them be funny, arguing creatures. That is something that has been part of the interviews from Gene Wells from the beginning. This was a monster that was introduced in her home games by another DM. And this is essentially kind of a place to give them an introduction. In the actual rooms themselves, the Ubue are basically just living. And they're not really even going to create too much trouble if the players aren't incredibly hostile. When players enter this level, they're going to come across a room that has a male Ubue guard. If outnumbered the guard 4-1, which most parties will, he will retreat and sound the alarm. Room 19 will be cleared of all females and children. Only the Ubues from room 18 will join the guard and attack. So they're just, they're just dungeon denizens that happen to have 3 heads, and all the other stuff surrounding it is meant to create the situations where the heads get into arguments with each other, which is the experience that was trying to be translated through this.
So in the home game, because that's really an important part of this that you kind of need to keep in mind, is that this was all Gene Wells was clearly trying to recreate something in this module that she that happened in one of her home games or multiple of her home games
Mhm.
that she enjoyed. That you're not going to put the stuff in there you don't like, right? So she was clearly trying to put something in this module that she liked and that worked well in her home game. And so while it's impossible to know unless you were a member of one of her home games, if you were, send us an email or something, because we will this isn't an interview podcast, but it will become an interview podcast. We will talk to you. I would love, because I maybe have gone a little bit around the bend on this, but I this is like unsolved mysteries to me now. I want Robert Stack to come out and the music doom 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 doom. I want to know, like, I've kind of made up my mind why I think the most likely reason this was shelved for. So I would love to know, but it's, these clearly were a thing, and I'm imagining, and this is maybe not the way it happened, but I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm imagining this was something that happened in their game, and they had these creatures, and someone was role playing them, or they were multiple people role playing them together, and it was really funny because she really leans into that of how they're arguing, and like it's one of those things that it's maybe hard to translate into a game. Maybe that was the failure of what ultimately this should have looked like, didn't really translate. But I get the feeling that like this was definitely something that was supposed to be funny and interesting, and just a little bit more of that really kind of skewed world building that she's been doing, like the purple moss and all that oh, this is kind of unusual for D&D stuff we don't really see. I really feel like that was more part of the world building. And then when you look at the art, now obviously she very well could have been behind the art. She could have told somebody in person, oh, hey, make this look like Bob and that look like Sarah. Ha ha ha, that's really funny. I doubt that. She said not, but I'm not going to say that we know for certain. But that art is definitely... that's not... I've seen enough of art from this time period that was intentional. Like that was supposed to look like somebody. They had somebody
that was something,
in mind.
Yeah, and that was something that the artist said in several interviews, was that this was frequently done. They would use them as caricatures where there is multiple accounts or argument, or not argument, where there is disagreement based on who you're reading is who they are meant to be,
who they're supposed to be,
or why, and how the influence happened. But there is one central point to this, that when we're talking about the Ubues and we're talking about why the module got pulled, the CEOs, and we'll talk more about this at the end of the module, the CEOs were very clear. The people who, were making the managerial decisions were very clear about the things they found objectionable. And what happened here is this was an attempt to recreate a good moment, a positive moment for the writer in their home games. That is actually a very difficult thing to achieve, no matter who you are, no matter what the thing is. We've written dungeon modules, we've written stuff for publishing before, Jeremy and I have, and where it gets really difficult is trying to recreate those specific moments that occur. Those things, in my mind, this is where the managerial decisions of we need to create a product that is more broad and open to serve a larger audience by being very clear but very basic is something that I think it's lost in the shuffle in this discussion. And I think that if you consider D&D not as a canon where it has to be the one thing, but more as the bookshelf where you have many different books to reach from, and depending on which book you're pulling from depends on what you get out of it. Like one night you pull out the more open-ended story book. One night you pull out the more theater of the mind book. One night you pull out the very gridded, tactical, crunchy book.
Right.
The game is richer for all of those books to be on the shelf. The game is richer when you have very specific experiences that are very directly guided by or influenced by the writing and speaking of the authors. And like, if I'm thinking Thirsty Sword Lesbians, if I am thinking of Masks, if I am thinking of other Play by the Apocalypse games or Blades in the Dark, or all the different really wonderful RPGs that I've tried outside of D&D, having several different, the big and broad and open kind of basic stuff that D&D represents, and then the more specific or more ephemera or more phenomena related RPGs like those others. It is good they both exist. It is good they both are there. This kind of reaching to create this experience, you swing and you miss more often than you will if you go for a more basic, grounded, general experience. But that's my 2 cents on it.
I definitely agree with that. Something like this now, there are some business things to keep in mind when it comes to like how many of these extra things are we going to do, because you're watering down a market or whatever. But I definitely believe that there are ways in which the orange, while it's interesting, I can see, especially at this time, how the audience for it would be way more narrow than you would want for an adventure that you're putting out in a time when adventures are being like, you're printing money at this point. Like, this is going to be snapped up as soon as it goes out. You basically know that how much money you're going to make in the first week, in the first 2 weeks, just because of supply and demand. So you don't necessarily want something that has these kind of, we'll call them experiments in them. And I think the Ubues are, especially because they don't really serve a purpose. They don't really further the story.
That's the next piece, is that
in a way
they're just in the way, and they don't really do anything. They're just in the way. And they're mostly meant to create that like moment where it's like 3-headed things, okay, and then they start arguing, and it's a chance for DMs to do the role play elements of that, and maybe Three Stooges up a little bit of it, and then you move on. So for that, I think we need to dive back into the module now that we've kind of like acknowledged the Ubu in the room.
Yes, the Ubu in the room.
There you go. So Jeremy, your party, after opening the door, seeing the Ubu, watching the Ubu freak out, watching the Ubu like organize their retreat and run away, and then being standing there left going, huh? Don't really find much of anything. There's like some silver necklaces, some potions of healing, and then they're left with a corridor leading north or a corridor leading west. You can go straight ahead west, or you can go and turn north.
Oh, let's just go straight ahead.
Yeah.
Straight like an arrow.
So first thing you're going to come across are a big pair of double doors. Very clearly large, impressive doors. These doors, there's some stand-up doors, let me tell you. And then just south of the doors, there is a portcullis, or a gate, that blocks a large staircase leading through, and you can see through the gate bars, down into an overgrown garden.
Oh, so these impressive stand-up doors, are they real doors or are they fake doors?
You've been tricked before, and you are wiser for it. No, they're real doors. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I mean, are they? Yeah. I mean, if we can't get the portcullis open, then doors. No, actually, the garden. That's where I want to be.
You want to hit the garden up?
Yeah, if possible.
Yeah. So in the garden, overgrown, as we said, full of weeds, paths in the garden, buried under underbrush. There's a statue in there, completely grown over with thick purplish vines. You can hear water running, but not quite sure where it's at. It says here that in the garden there are 2 deadly plants, a Jupiter bloodsucker, which is wrapped around the statue, and 8 archer bushes. And from the description, the archer bushes, imagine the yellow plants from Jumanji, the original Jumanji.
Oh,
that, pop out of the wall and shoot that
that was my shit when I was a kid.
Oh, that was terrifying.
So cool. That was so cool.
So
one of the parts of Jumanji that still holds up. I don't know if we've talked about this. I've talked about Jumanji with a lot of people lately. I don't know why. One of the parts that still holds up is that because it was done practically, that's a big old puppet, and it still looks cool. When you get upstairs into the attic with the spiders look terrible because they're just these like little, they look like wind-up toys.
Yep. So
but man, that plant stuff was so cool.
I had the Jumanji board game.
Oh yeah, no, I know. We played it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
with
was
the little cards that
with
go
the cards
into
that go to the reader.
yeah, the little red thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So those plants will fire 1d4 times 10 needles per round. So
Oh
each
shit!
needle is 1 point of damage.
Okay, so we're in a swarm. We're in kind of a swarm territory.
Potentially, yeah. Now, they're scattered around. They will not attack unless disturbed. The Jupiter bloodsucker, though, will move towards its intended victim, wrap itself around them, and place one of their giant leaves over the victim's face, smothering the victim while inserting its needle-sharp thorns to drain the victim's blood.
Yikes!
Yeah, that's a level 5 clinger right there.
That's like your first interaction with a cloaker. Oh, that bat! What's that do? Oh my god! It's swallowing me.
Yeah, right. Or Sturges.
Oh yeah,
Got five,
Sturge.
a whole bunch of. So Sturges. Here's the thing that people miss about Sturges. They put some Sturges in the room, and the players swat them down, and it's like, no. You need 5 times the amount of Sturges than your players can attack each round, because after 2 rounds, the Sturges that are left will have attached themselves to someone, and that one person is like, oh god, I'm sleepy, I need a juice box, and now they're losing con points.
Tell me, what were my husband's last words? They were, tell my wife I love her. Don't tell her about the juice box.
Don't tell her the juice box. All right, so if players are able to clear their way to the fountain on the far side of the map from where they came in, there is a fountain that has been kind of overgrown, which they can clear out. The fountain has healing powers, will cure each person once, and replace all lost hit points. So water has to be drunk straight out of the fountain. It will lose its properties if taken out of the room. All right.
Sure, like that's classic. This is so you don't fill up every container you own with magical healing water.
Step right up to Bim's magical fountain. Cure what ails you. And it's just a hose running from it downstairs to the entrance.
Right.
After dealing with the garden, do you want to explore elsewhere or head to our impressive
Let's go big doors.
Big doors. We're taking big doors for 500, Alex. Across from the double doors of this huge room stands a massive, hand-carved wooden throne upon a dais. 2 statues of warriors, one to either side of the throne, stand as silent guardians. In the center of the room, 2 huge columns. Fireplaces on the east and west walls. Tapestries. Tapestries hang on the north wall. They record scenes of pomp and procession, royal galas and feasts once held in the great halls. In the southeast and southwest corners are 2 more statues, duplicates of the ones guarding the throne. Congratulations, you have found the throne room!
Hey, that explains the giant doors.
Yeah! There is also nothing to do in this room.
What?
There is nothing interesting. There is nothing to find. There is nothing happening. Okay, I lied. If you have your elf in the party, they're going to be like, what do you mean? There's a secret door right over here.
There's a secret door literally right there.
There is a secret door. But that's it! Throne room's got nothing else going on. There's a chance, if you hang around, some Ubues might wander in and go, and then run off.
Run off.
Yeah.
So Ubues now in my mind.
No, actually, it does say they challenge the right to be there. Yeah.
They're no longer this weird, like, because this whole thing is it's got that weird, like, bad kind of weird sex thing, even though the Ubues weren't the sex thing. It's got that kind of, but now they're like Muppets. Like they're the monsters from Sesame Street. They run in and go, and run back out.
Yeah.
Like now I'm on Team Ubu.
Like if I had Ubu Muppets,
Ubu
Muppets would be a hell of a good time. I'm just saying.
I want them to guest on other modules.
Right? It's
just
entirely
scream and run out.
So speaking of RPGs, I played Miskatonic Muppets last year. I've never heard of, but I am immediately interested. It is Muppets in Call of Cthulhu.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got that much from the name.
It was a great time.
Really?
It was so much
so
fun.
do you play an existing Muppet? We're completely off the rails now. Do
No.
you play an existing Muppet?
Nope.
Or
you pick a style of Muppet. There's things like your felt scores, and like there's a whole series of Muppet related, things. But no, my character was a constable or a kind of an upper hoity-toity kind of police chief style person. Sure. And they cared all about their brass buttons. So it was very much like, imagine a big round purple or blue head, a big fuzzy mustache, and he's got his hands in his coat, and there are these big brass buttons down the front of it, and he just walks around going, "Well, bless my buttons! We found a clue! I think there's something strange about this book here, I do."
That's pretty good Muppet voice, actually.
Oh, thank you, yeah. So yeah,
I'm trying to remember the different types of... They're like different kinds of Muppets. I'm not going to make this a thing, but look it up. They're different kinds, not like just the different, like, you have a one hand and then you have like full body. No, they're like different types of Muppets based on their construction. It's from like really super early. That's what I was thinking you were going to get into, was like that super early Muppet types where some have these sorts of eyes, some have these sorts of eyes.
But some of that is used in the character creation of your Muppet. But yeah, so yeah, you can do a lot of really interesting things. It's all about context, right? Ubues in the context of Muppets, hilarious.
Yeah, they totally work. But they work but we had to put that on them, which I would say was maybe Gene Wells' intention.
Maybe, yeah. All right. So you're in the throne room. There's a secret door. Uh-huh. I assume we're taking the secret door.
Oh, yeah. We brought the elf. That's the only thing that they... literally their only use in this... in life, generally. So
open the kennel door, let the elf come out and sniff around for secret doors, and then prod them back into it. All right. So if you, in the throne room, find the secret door, it leads into a hallway. The hallway is about 20 feet long. There's a door at the opposite end of it. But your elf, if you let them back out of the kennel for walkies, will find a second secret door on the left. Inside this room, there is a single pedestal with a glass case on top of it. Inside, a small brown box with strange runes. What's your party going to do?
I mean, okay, so my initial thought was, what did we come here looking for?
A giant friggin' ruby.
Giant friggin' ruby. We have now found a box that is the general size and shape of a giant freaking ruby behind
inside a glass case.
Secret doors.
Two, not one, it's just two secret doors.
Yeah. As we know, if you really want to hide something, two secret doors. You can also make it invisible and put it in a darkness room, but that's for another. That's mostly for spellbooks,
right?
I mean, I'm getting into this, especially if we have a thief in the party. We're getting into this case.
Cool. So as soon as the glass case is touched,
it's definitely trapped.
Yeah, both Lady Argenta and her knight in silver and blue armor will appear.
Oh,
they are not illusions, they are ghosts, and have come to protect the ruby. They will attack any person in the room.
Well, that explains that.
So if you dispatch the ghosts of Lady Argenta and the knight in silver and blue, you will find inside the box my lady's heart.
Woo!
Yep. A ruby in a velvet-lined teakwood box.
Yeah.
So it's a ruby lying in a velvet-lined teakwood box, not as large as rumor or the portrait of Lady Argenta that is found elsewhere in the upper level would have led the characters to believe. The ruby is only 1 inch in diameter, but it's worth 10,000 gold.
Well, I mean, that's cool, but I mean, because it was supposed to be it was portrayed to be much larger than that.
Well, yeah, the story and the retelling is like sooner or later you need a wheelbarrow for this thing around your neck, right?
D&D. I was expecting a big like I want to take a selfie with it. Let's take the size of my head.
Yeah, no, it's more like the size of a tooth.
I mean, still, it's a good size ruby. And
Oh,
we
yes.
found the thing. Okay, so if you told me coming into this dungeon, you're going to give me the setup with My Lady's Heart, are you going to find it? The answer was going to be absolutely not. They're going to tell you this story, and then they're going to make it something's going to keep you from being able to take it.
Hashtag waste his time.
Yes, hashtag waste his time this summer. The fact that we have our hands on now, and we're not even at the end of the dungeon.
Nope.
Hashtag we just got rich as shit.
Yeah, you can find this ruby in the upper level by literally just opening 3 doors and finding a pair of secret doors. That's it.
And now we have to leave.
You just poked your way right into the center of it. There's a whole other upper, like you've covered maybe
for sure.
a fifth of the upper level or
I just
less.
got lucky.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But yeah, it's right there, right near the entrance.
Wow.
It's just
so. Is this considered sort of the? Well, no, don't tell me. I was gonna say, is this like the end? Like, is this supposed to be? Is the ghost encounter pretty difficult, or are they relatively? I mean, it's a princess. The knight may be more difficult. I mean, I guess the princess could be too, but
well, they're the same. They're ghosts. That's it.
Oh, sure, yeah,
yeah,
that's fair.
There's also a nice full-page art of the box under glass and the knight and Lady Argenta attacking, with Lady Argenta looking a lot like the Scarlet Witch.
Oh yeah. I've seen that. That's one of the pieces of art that's actually in both of them.
Yep.
Yeah, she has like her crown is very much scarlet witchy. She looks kind of badass actually.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it does put a little bit of a twist on the idea that like, oh, this person was like taken advantage of or wasn't, or like this really does leave the question of, well, what exactly is going on?
Right. And in this, I know because it kind of tells you at the beginning, it does. You're like, it's up to the DM to. I feel like we've said that a million times. This sort of story is really up to the DM to say, do you explain this, or do you not explain it? Because you could run it both ways. It's kind of like they left the we see some. We talked about it earlier. You run into some soldiers and they have some sort of an insignia on, right?
Right.
You could just be like, these are just some random guys. This doesn't matter. Or it could be a hook for later on in the adventure or later on in future adventures. You find out what this symbol means. This could be something too. Like, what's the deal with all this? I mean, and you have a lot of hooks to go into it, right?
Yep.
You had the madman Travis downstairs in his little shop of horrors,
which is really one of the like sections I've enjoyed the most about this. Is like, this is interesting. This is compelling. It's creepy AF. But it's also just clearly like, we're gonna fucking kill this guy. Are you kidding me? This is great.
100%. And the way that it was sort of surrounded by more of a very, I kind of call it like feminine coded portion of the dungeon, it really kind of lends it even more surprise, where you walk down there and you're like, oh, is it like a powder room or like a nice, secret garden sort of thing? And it's actually a bloodthirsty madman that's been mutilating corpses for the last X number of years.
Yep,
but
pretty much.
Also, the fact that all of this stuff you could explain, you could come up with your own explanation, and you could tie in the Ubues, you could tie in the flying sink monster. I can't remember what that one was called.
Oh yeah, the one that
was in the bath.
It's a Diger. It's a DIG.
Yeah. The weird purple moss. All that's like, you could tie all that into. There's some weird eldritch curse. There's a portal open somewhere that's allowed these things in, and that's what ended up killing all that. Like, there's a lot of ways you could make this into a narrative that is unique to your table. Yeah. But some people don't want to do that. Some people just want to run a module, and those people buy modules. So
there you go.
Understandable.
That's the end of part 3 of Palace of the Silver Princess. From Magic Castle to Serial Killer Dungeon, what hard tonal shift is next? Find out in part 4. As always, we have a new release every other Tuesday. If you hate cliffhangers and like your podcasts long and all at once, though, we offer the entire episode from start to finish, uninterrupted, over on our Patreon. Find out more at our home base, analogdungeon.com. Travis sentences you to like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast, or face a grisly death like all the others. Choose wisely, and we'll see you next time.